Well, greetings, everyone. Welcome to Step into the Miraculous with Joan of Angels, where we teach you how to launch miracles in your life and catch your miracle wave. And today we are having a celebrity miracle maker. So, I have very fascinating people, but this one is really exciting to me because she actually creates miracles, launches miracles, and has a new show on making miracles happen. And so when I find people who are excited about miracle mastery, I have to introduce them to you. So I'll bring her up in just a minute. But guys, I am Joan of Angels. We do Miracle Monday. We do Step into the Miraculous. We do all things about helping you remember who you are and why you are here. So if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that button that sends you all sorts of reminders of when we're on so we can grow our miracle tribe. And check out the website at joanofangels.com. All right. So meanwhile, I promised, yes, before I bring our guest on, actually, I want to take a deep breath with all of you. So let's all just sort of take a deep breath in and just take a moment to center before we begin. Okay. So good. Take a deep breath in and send your roots down to the center of the earth for a second. Good, 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 good. And take another deep breath in. And let's just send that antenna all the way up to the heavens. Okay. And when we do that, I want you to actually literally feel that support from the heavens down through your body, all the way down into the earth. And so we are one. And so it is. All right, good. I'm ready now. So our celebrity healer, Adrienne Blackwell, our celebrity miracle maker, okay, is our guest today. And she has been featured on many TV shows around the globe, including NBC News, E! Channel, Travel Channel, and Bio Channel. Adrienne has a healing background as a Reiki master teacher, shamanic healer, theta healer, medical Qigong student, along with 9 other modalities. But all of these healing techniques were the catalyst for her to create her own modality, which we're going to hear about today, Ascended Healing, and the recorded healings called Ascension Code. Since 2012, she has moved from being a celebrity psychic to a full-time healer, helping women who have a similar story to her own. Her healing helps busy, professional, career-driven women who want more of life than just a great career, more money. So she helps people who are seeking for soul satisfaction and to know their purpose is life and to be an expanded being. So I want to welcome Adrienne on. And I want to tell you about Adrienne. She had me on her show. She introduced me last month for her summit, Making Miracles Happen. And so I was so delighted with the interview. And I actually made her tell me a little bit about herself in the interview because the chemistry, as you're going to see, was beyond, it was magical miracles. So Adrienne, how are you today?
I am doing great. And as a matter of fact, your interview was just released today and people are already lined up and they were like, how do I get in on today? Is there going to be a replay? Because it's in the middle of the night for me. So people are actually ready to view this and they want to know more about you too. So I'm excited.
Well, I'm wondering if they're able to watch us both at the same time.
This video right here is live on the actual page. So yeah.
Oh my God. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Making miracles happen. I just want to share something. After we did our interview, guys, and I talked to Adrienne, I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, do you think I can invite her to be on my show? Do you think like she would be on Miracle Monday or Step into the Miraculous with us? And so I took a deep breath. I'm being transparent. I took a deep breath and then I invited her on the show. And so I'm just really delighted you're here, love.
Thank you. Why did you have to ask? Like, why were you nervous and had to take a deep breath?
I just had to take a deep breath because you're expansive and you're expansive because it was so fun, because because you reach a lot of people. And then I said, well, that's ridiculous because you're having so much fun with her that of course she's having so much fun with me. Yeah. And then I asked, and that was my lesson, to always keep learning as I keep growing and expanding our show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the people I adore seem to adore me, and then it works the best. So
even inviting people on the show and interviewing them and getting to know about them, to me, is you're building a relationship with people. You're building new friendships, people that you talk to for years and years, after that, because I've been doing this almost 2 years. I've interviewed over 200 people. And so, of course, like, I don't want to be, it's all about me and you being on my show. I'm like, it's about us.
Well, it is. And now we're on both shows.
Yeah.
Well, but I do have a few questions for you. Okay. So you became a celebrity psychic. Now, how did you become a celebrity psychic? Like, were you born as a psychic? Were you like?
I was born a psychic, but I don't remember having necessarily any premonitions until I was around 6 years old. Where I had a premonition about my sister going over a friend's house and wanting to come home in the middle of the night. And I was very angry that my father didn't listen to me and let her go. And so, of course, she calls crying and she wanted to come home in the middle of the night. So that was like the first experience I can remember. But in that instance, I'm only 6. So to me, I'm just looking at adults like they're just stupid because he didn't listen. Of course, everybody could see this and you're still going to let my sister get hurt. That in my mind, that's what it was like. And then at 15, somebody actually explained to me, there's no other way for you to know the stuff that you know unless you're psychic. So you're psychic. And then everything made sense after that. I was like, oh, you guys can't see what I see. So you're not stupid. I'm just psychic. And so that was like clarity for the first time in my life, right? At 15. And then it was almost like a party trick where people would bring people to the house and say, she's a psychic, ask her something. And then I would, they would ask me something about the future. I'd tell them, and then they would let me know later on it was accurate. And it was never, I worked ever since I was 12 years old. So I was working for people. I had jobs. It wasn't something that I was doing as a profession, but I went to New Zealand for a year. And in that process, I just came into the spiritual journey. Like, I started seeking out psychics. I started reading books. I started meditating. I was traveling to amazing places, and something opened up for me that when I came back, I actually started doing psychic readings at a metaphysical shop. They used to have those back in the day. And
I know all about them.
Right. A news team came in and they were like, all the other psychics were busy. I was the only one who wasn't busy. Because I think if I remember correctly, I was thinking that day, like, how come I'm not busy? Like, everybody else is getting readings. Maybe it's their clients that come in regularly. And then all of a sudden the news team came in and they were like, that's the only one who's available right now. And they were like, we're getting ready to go on the news. We need somebody to make a prediction. We have a little TV. They actually brought in like this little TV. And they were like, we need to turn on the TV and have you watch part of the game and then make a prediction and it'll be on in a little while. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? And that was literally the step into like television, radio, serious radio, books, magazines, writing for magazines around the world. That was literally my toe into it. And it's been like nonstop ever since. Even into changing from celebrity psychic to a healer has not necessarily have stopped my life at all.
Well, why would it stop it? I feel you're just on this miracle wave of expansion. And there's more levels. I see more levels.
When you think about when I got started, because we're talking 2001, okay. Psychic readings were the thing, right? So psychic.
No, I always went to psychics. I'm surprised I never went to you, right? Okay.
Right. So I'm like, all these people wanted psychic readings. The psychic fairs were hot. The TV shows, Sylvia Brown, nobody was looking at TV for a healer. They were looking for a psychic. So in my mind, even though I had started actually taking classes for being a healer first, in my mind, this is for me and my family. This is for people in my family who are suffering that I can help. It's not a profession. Like, in my mind, it's like, it's not a profession. And even when I made the transition, I was surprised when all my psychic clients, except for one, actually transitioned into doing the healing work, because they were like, this is phenomenal, and forget the psychic readings. You're helping me create the life that I want. To me, that was the miracle, because I truly believe with all my heart at the time that becoming anything other than a psychic wasn't going to be as important. It wasn't going to be as profitable. I couldn't help people as much as I did as a psychic. Just a belief system that was so untrue. That's why I'm so amazed that life hasn't slowed down at all as a healer at all.
That is so funny. So I used to go to psychics and they'd say to me, well, Joan, you should be sitting on our side of the table. And I was a chiropractor in those days, just so you know. So I felt like it was it was scary to me. It was exciting, and my ego would go around, oh, I'm a psychic. I'm a psychic. Look, they said I'm psychic. But I didn't understand that the job of a psychic, like that it was actually something really important. And it took me a long time to start doing readings for people. And my hands would do the readings. So I'm laughing because the healing to me, I tell people, when I was told my mission at 30, they said, you're here to heal and inspire. And so it always had both components for me equally important.
Interesting.
To heal and inspire and help people remember they're here, that they too have these gifts, and that they're here to remember who they are so they can live their best gifts. And to me, that's the miracle. So when I wrote my book about miracle makers, and I want to hear what you think about miracle makers, but to me, and the book is called The Miracle Makers Club, because when someone becomes fully empowered and they wake up as a result of this work, then they step into their destiny and they turn around and they help the people behind them who have been waiting to be woken up also. And so it's sort of like the miracle maker play it forward forever and ever kind of thing. That's how I see it. How do you see it?
How do I see miracle makers?
Yeah.
I see miracle makers as people who have allowed what they think reality to be to become null and void. It doesn't matter anymore. What I thought reality was, it wasn't. It's like when the veil gets really thin and you start seeing these supernatural things take place. And for us, because we see miracles on such a regular basis, it doesn't feel or look supernatural, and it probably isn't in the end. But people still see it that way. And it's one of these things that when miracles start to unfold, your brain does something. You're like, that wasn't supposed to be possible.
Right.
That in this reality, it makes no sense. Like I've talked to people who
True.
literally were desperate for money. Like, I need money. All I can do is ask the universe because I don't know what to do at this point. And it magically appeared in their account. And even the banks don't know how they got it. I mean, I've seen people have miraculous experiences where they have a disease and the disease disappears overnight. I've seen miracles where in this reality, they tell you that is not possible. And those miracle makers are the ones who now see that it is.
And that is true. And just being on this show today and talking about this sets that in motion and actually I believe it accelerates people's DNA to accept it, to expect it, accept it, and see it in this new timeline of theirs.
It's true. And that is the reason why my series, Making Miracles Happen, to me is so important, is because people who don't believe in miracles, or they're like, I've had one miracle, but you can't make it an everyday thing. It doesn't happen regularly, right? Because it's a supernatural thing that just happens when God gives it to you, or when the universe gives it to you, or on a whim, or when you're desperate, or whatever their mind is telling the story. When you listen to people who have had miracles that don't make any sense, when they're
Right.
sharing their stories, all of a sudden the viewer starts to go, everybody seems to be having these experiences, whether it was only once or it was 15 times. And there's a way to open up to these miracles happening on a regular basis. I can start to believe that now, and I can start to create that. And then they realize, watching the series on its own, like people tuning in today, this is a miracle to be here, to hear people telling their miraculous stories.
No, it's so true. I remember I went out in the full moon about 5 years ago, and I was torn about being a chiropractor. And I said to the moon, if you want me to go back to chiropractic and practice again, you will gift me a chiropractic office. Okay, you will literally give me an office. I don't want to deal with anything. You'll give it to me. It'll be a sign that I'm supposed to go back into practice. The next day, I got a phone call from the local chiropractor here in town, and it's kind of weird. He was about to leave his practice to have back surgery. And he said, Joan, take it. It's yours. I'll give you everything in here. And he gave me the keys to it, and he walked away. Yes, true miracle. And it happened with less than 24 hours. And that is but in my experience as well. And I love that you're doing this whole series. I love that we're kind of launching the series in the beginning with Making Miracles Happen, because we can make miracles happen.
We can make miracles happen. And I'm still sitting on yours, because no matter how many miracles I hear, people's miracles are still surprising. And I love that. Like, it's still like, well, I just went into another realm of miracles right now. I'm like, within 24 hours.
Within 24
That
hours.
still blows my mind. Like
Okay.
this
And
is a
he
norm.
gave it to me. He
Here's the
gave it to
story.
me. Okay. I still have the table from there.
But I
So
haven't heard this exact story, right? Like this is a new story that's just amazing, where it just kind of blows people's minds. Like, wow, that kind of miracle can happen.
oh my
Wow.
God, I have them all the time. I got on Coast to Coast because the booking producer almost killed a woman at 6 o'clock and an angel prevented it. And I called him at 7. So he said, let's just book your show. That's exactly how it happened. I had gotten the message to call him at
Wow.
6, but at 6 o'clock, I felt I just got this message, do not call him. So I called him at 7. And before I called him, I spontaneously went around the room screaming and yelling, I'm going to be on Coast to Coast. And sure enough, when I called him, he said, oh my God, Joan, you won't believe this, but an hour ago, and he tells me the story, he almost hits this little old lady, and an angel intervened. And I had been calling him every week for about 6 weeks. So, Adrian, it was true miracles. And even Tina Marie had a miracle today. She, or my tech person, my friend on the back room, she got the bus dropped her off at the mall and she's about to go into the bank. And she suddenly looks up, thank God, and she sees a gun, and then the bank doors close. She avoided a bank robbery because she had a spontaneous feeling of, you better look up. And she saw the gunman with the gun. She even remembers his face.
It's amazing to me, first of all, that people can still rob banks in this day and age. That's crazy. And second of all, just yes, yeah, the feeling can be a miracle in itself, right?
The miracle of really being, there's so many miracles.
Wow.
And I love that I'm on your summit. I love that we're launching it and giving people. So what's the most exciting miracle that happened for you?
I can't actually name that miracle because there have been too many. I can share some with you, but the most amazing, like everything in my life at this point, that I'm still alive is a miracle. That's definitely a miraculous thing that's happened for me. But just as far, like even the series itself to me is a miracle because I've had to go through so much because I'm so stubborn. I've had to go through so much to get to this point where I can actually listen to my guides. I had moved to Los Angeles and my guides had told me don't go where I was going. And I was like, well, I didn't prepare anything else of the money that I have at the time, because this was 15 years ago. The money that I had at the time was saved for me to get a place to live. And one of my clients had invited me to come stay with her until I found a place. And they were like, don't go there. Go to Scientology instead. And because of something that my friend had told me at the time about Scientology, I got scared. And I was like, oh, no, I can't go there because whatever reason. And I'm like, my guides are sitting here and they're talking to me as if you and I are talking. And I still didn't listen. So a bunch of stuff happened. Let's see. We saw a woman get hit by a car, and I ended up doing healing work on her. And when I was talking to the police about what happened, I said, today's my first. She's like, where are you from? And I said, today's my first day back in LA because I was born and raised there. But I was like, I just moved here after like 10 years. And she was like, are you sure you're supposed to be here? The police officer asked me, am I sure I'm supposed to be here? I mean, out of the blue, like it wild. And I knew my guides were talking to me at that moment. And I was like, that was a miracle in itself. The fact that this police officer just felt like she needed to say that to me. She took down the report and leaves. So my car gets broken down. My wallet gets stolen. All the money was taken out of my account. I think I had $5 in cash left. And we're talking about, I think it was like 8 to 10 days of all of this stuff happening. My car breaks down. Literally everything went wrong. So I'm sitting in the car and at this point, I have to surrender. I don't have anything left to be taken or destroyed. Like this is it. And my guides say to me out loud, are you ready to listen yet? And I said, yes. And they said, if you don't listen, you'll die. And it was like, that was the defining moment for me. So they said, we told you to go to Scientology. So the next morning I actually drove to what I thought to be the Celebrity Center because it was the only place I knew down there. So I'm driving up and down the street and I can't find the place. And I'm like, you guys are telling me to go. I know where it is and I can't find it. It doesn't exist. it's nowhere to be found anymore. Like I'm going directly to where it's at and it's not there. Okay, you guys, I've been there before. It's not there. I've met my clients there before. It doesn't exist. It's not there. So I have this idea to go down a different street, drive a little bit further, just because I don't know what else to do. And there's this building off into the distance I'd never seen before. It has a halo around it. And I was like, that's where I need to be. So I park, I walk up to the door, and it says Scientology on it. So I open the doors, this woman greets me, and she says to me, oh my, I don't think we've ever seen you here before. It's so good to see you. I'm like, how many people come here? Like you know me and you don't know me? Like you know everybody who comes? It was weird. It just felt weird. And so she was like, can we give you a tour? And I was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want because my guide's told me to be here, right? And we finally get upstairs to the library, and a woman comes in and she introduces us. And as she turns around to leave, something jumped in my body and said, excuse me, but do you know of a place to live?
Do you know?
And she turned around, you know of a place to live? Yeah, she turned around so slow, and you could tell it freaked her out. Like she was visibly shaken. And she turned around and she goes, yeah, my husband's a real estate agent. He's been trying to fill this house for about 1.5 years. And she goes, do you want me to give him a call? And I said, please do. It was the house that I had been manifesting for 3 months, down to the detail of the window. It's on a hill. It has a huge picture window. It's overlooking water, like how many bedrooms, what the yard looked like, everything in detail. And I could have been there 10 days earlier had I listened to my guides. So this is the kind of stuff that I would go through just so I can trust my guides were telling me, the truth. So 2 years ago, when my guide said it's time for you to start interviewing people again, I said yes. That was a miracle. I did not argue with them. I didn't have to have something happen. That was a miracle.
You were trained. It takes I have discovered it really could take years to start learning how to say yes, and you have to actually I tell the story about my tax returns. I said, don't put them in the trunk. Of course, why? They'll blow away. I may have, honestly, and they did blow away. I had to have many. I think humans may be a little bit more stubborn. We want to do it our way until we learn that the messages are more accurate than our own logical mind.
It's true. And we do want to do it our own way. And a lot of that, I know for me personally, a lot of that was overcoming the fear that when you hear voices that you're crazy, or if angels are talking to you, it's actually demons based on my religious upbringing. So a lot of that not listening was because of my own fear, and then overcoming those fears by being able to trust the voices. Like when they tell me to do something, it's something positive. It is life-changing. It's miraculous. And so at this point, I can't argue with them. I'm just like, okay.
I was listening to a show the other night with Alan Steinfeld, and he was talking about, he says, sometimes you'll hear something, it's very quiet, and you'll think you made it up. And that's the voice. That is your instructions. But there's our human mind. We think we made it up. And the biggest thing for me in doing readings was learning that I would start to see it as a little choo-choo train on a thread going by like this. And I started capturing it, because I'm not psychic, I'm more intuitive. But once I learned to capture that little thing that was and it's so subtle, guys, in the beginning, and then saying it to a client, I discovered it was exactly the right thing. That's how I learned to trust that voice, which has guided me since my entire life. I became a chiropractor because I was in Lee Taylor Young's house, 1980. It was a long time ago, and she was part of the movement of spiritual awareness. And I went to this seminar, and I said, "Okay, God, what should I do with my life?" And I heard a voice. It was as loud as can be. It said, "Go to chiropractic school." And I enrolled the next day.
Another miracle.
And so I'm like you. Everything to me is a miracle, Adrienne. At 28, I thought I was not going to make it. And the fact that I'm still here and I'm youngering and I'm teaching miracles is my miracle. And I don't think I ever I'm always passionate about it. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. And I mean, you get to a point once you start seeing so many miracles, you have to be passionate about it because it wouldn't make sense not to be, right? And
Right.
that helps us teach others how to make miracles because they see how much fun it is. And when you get to the point where you actually listen, you bypass all the negative stuff that had, like I could bypass that whole 10 days of negativity down to the point where they were like, oh, if you don't listen, you're gonna die, right? I could have bypassed that whole thing. And so the miracle is when you actually get to that point and you're able to not have to have bad things happen to trust, to say,
Yes.
okay, something is looking out for me, like I am being looked out for. And it is a quiet voice, like you were saying in the beginning. It's very quiet. And the more you listen to it, the louder it gets, to the point where I actually will hear them say like at least a sentence telling me what to do next if they feel it's super important for me to listen right now. And that, I'm telling you, that's a miracle that I've trained myself for so long to be able to hear it that loud and clear, that I'm able to say yes to it and listen to it is a miracle. Like, yeah, it's all a miracle in the process. And so many people are like, well, how do I hear it like you? And I'm like, well, you have to start to just listen to yourself. If you have a feeling, listen to it, right? If you want to begin, you have to begin somewhere, because so many people are like, oh, it's going to take too long. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. And I'm like, if it saves your life, if it brings you joy, if it helps you get on your path and it makes it easier so it's not as difficult, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yes, and to trust it. I think really putting it out and asking for miracles has totally, completely brought me everything that's juicy. You know, miracles are juicy. And so that's why we named the show Catch Your Miracle Wave, because it's a mindset of saying, yeah. And I think what I'm hearing from you is the key is to say yes. One of the keys.
150%.
1,050%. Yes. Right? It's because once you say yes and then you follow that instruction, then what? Then they give you more.
It's true. It is true. Like I went through this period in my life where I could hear my guides so loud and clear, and every step of my way was somehow being presented to me in one way or another. Like I had total faith in the process. Okay, I have to go here and I have to do this and I have to trust this, and all these miraculous things would happen. And then the voices got really quiet, got real quiet. And my guides didn't seem like they were there anymore. And I was like, well, what happened? Why aren't you guys talking to me? What am I supposed to be doing? And I think it was after maybe a year of silence, and they just said, rest. Just rest. There's nothing you're supposed to be doing. And I think, honestly, in a lot of ways, that's a miracle, because at that point I felt abandoned. You know, I was going through all this emotional stuff of feeling abandonment and how can you're not there, and what do I do and how I make decisions. And it was a learning experience for me that really honestly transformed my life. And I actually learned how to rest because I was a workaholic. You know, I learned how to rest in the period where they weren't talking to me and I didn't know which way to go. And well, when you have nothing to do, you do nothing. Like, how do you do nothing? So I learned how to do nothing. And you realize that when you're a very busy person and everybody wants your attention, all of a sudden there's times where you have to learn how to say, no, I can't give it now. Like, this is my time. I would have never learned that had they had kept talking to me and telling me what to do next. That itself was a miracle, because then I learned how to say no to different projects. Because believe me, when you first get out there and you're being offered things, you say yes to pretty much everything. Whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. Whether it's right for you or wrong for you doesn't matter. And so at some point I got used to saying, no, this doesn't feel right.
And that's a big thing. That's a big thing, to trust it doesn't feel right.
And then, yes, and trusting that, because you always think in the beginning, if I don't say yes, is this my last opportunity?
Right.
And you get over that. That's the miracle in the training. My guide's training with me is that you really just get over that, and you learn when to rest, and you learn when to move forward. You learn when to rest. You learn when to move forward. You learn when to rest, and that it's consistent. That you have to rest on a regular basis. To me, that's a miracle for somebody who didn't rest. You know.
And then it comes in stages and kind of waves. I do. So this,
don't rest.
I think these days it's harder for people to rest, and little things like shutting off your Wi-Fi can help you rest by shutting, you know, so you don't have
simple thing, right? And so many people are like, but I can't.
Well, because I have to read my cell phone till the moment I fall asleep. So there are certain things that really are distracting to people to center
Mhm.
in. So I love that one of the things you said that I really liked was that you were asked to do something and you said yes. It was way back, or your guides asked you to do it and you said yes. I was asked the other night to call in a UFO. Now, I connect to UFOs. I've seen ships.
Really?
No one has ever asked me to call in a UFO, Adrian. So it happened, and it happened here in Joshua Tree. You can come out anytime, visit me here. Okay, it happened here.
My second invite to that area in one day, like within hours. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
You're gonna have to tell me who was the first invite from. Okay. We'll talk after. We'll set something up. It's magic. So anyway, this medium asked me if I could call in UFOs. So I said yes. But I didn't hear no, in my head. So I said yes. And I had never done it before. Okay, just so you know. And it was really calming. The whole group up on the balcony were listening to rock and roll. I asked them to shut it off because they were partying up there. This was not a spiritual retreat or a Stephen Greer connect with the star beings. So I go into the middle of the field, and they told me to do the process that I always do in my Miracle Mondays, where we ground to the center of the earth, and we send our antenna up, and then we stretched, and we stretched, and we stretched. There were 12 women exactly in the circle, which was actually a ceremony for me that I didn't know was a ceremony, but it was.
Yeah.
And I was in the center, and I started telling them tales of giant rock and the UFOs here and the ETs here. And the next thing I know, they said, "Open your eyes." And I'm thinking, oh dear, couldn't too soon. But I shouted out, "Open your eyes." And it was a miracle, Adrian. We looked up, and at first I thought it was a shooting star, but it stopped. It kind of went slow and twinkled. It was like it was sending us celestial stardust. And then it glittered gold, and it took off like a flying star. What do you call that? A shooting star. And so I'll tell you what happened to me. My DNA has been altered completely. It merged me with my higher dimensional self because I said yes. And I didn't know that it was this ceremony that I had been told about years ago that would integrate me with my 14th dimensional self. So it all happened because I said yes. There was a little part of me that had been wanting to leave, thinking I don't belong here. We should leave. Maybe if we disappear, she'll never know I'm gone. I mean, honestly, but I stayed and I said yes. And I feel it altered my life because of that one yes. And I didn't know I could do it, Adrian.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, I call angels all the time. I have seen UFOs and ETs, and the procedure I have tried has been, you meditate, you blah blah blah, you do this whole thing. This happened in under 10 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, it happened in under 10 minutes.
What it sounded like is that you knew how to do this, and so they asked you to call one in, and you're like, okay, that's the miracle. That's different if you didn't know that you could do it. That's wild.
I did not know, but then I didn't know I couldn't, Adrian, either.
That's true.
And they said to me, can you call in, they called them aliens. Can you call in aliens? And I checked in and it was yes. And I knew that and then when we started, I just said, I told them, yes, we know you're going to be here. And it was. And so I've been invited to do it at the Disclosure Fest this weekend. So we'll see. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. But it's exciting because it takes the theme of the following. You hear the message and you say yes. And when you say yes, then life transforming things happen. And then they start cycling. You and your guides are one. You're on this wave and they're there.
Yeah.
And they're keeping all obstacles out of your way. So it's smooth sailing as long as you say yes and you trust. Right.
And that saying yes and trust is that relationship that you've built with that inner knowing. It's the relationship that you build with your guides. So that's why the process has to start with just listening to yourself, because you actually need to build that relationship, which is an incredible relationship. No less incredible than any other relationship you can get with another person, you know? And people don't think about that. They don't think about, oh, I can build a relationship with myself. I can build a relationship with my guides. I can build these relationships. And they're just like, well, I can't do what you do. It's just building relationships, you know?
And listening. Yeah. And listening and tracking it. Because when I started writing a book about all the times I've listened and how that voice within has really transformed my life. I mean, I would never have been a chiropractor if they hadn't said, go to chiropractic school specifically, or paint 33 angels. It wasn't even in my sphere.
Is that one of your exercises that you write down all the times that your intuition actually worked for you?
Okay. Yes, it is. So I teach a class called the Ultimate Intuitive Ninja. And in that class, one of the very beginning thing is all the times you didn't listen. Very important.
I told somebody about that the other day. I was like, one of my speakers, I forget who it was, but it stuck with me because I've done it before. Like, you should do it too.
Seriously, right? No, because all the times you don't listen, like you suffered for 14 days and you could have, until you could have died from it. Okay. You were hard-headed. Well, we're not the only hard-headed ones out there. I know a lot of our audience goes, my guides told me to take apple cider vinegar and I thought they were crazy, so I didn't. But
I didn't hear it.
Or even today, you said twice people have mentioned Joshua Tree to you. Those are signs. Those are definite signs from your guides that you have a destiny awaiting you also. But, and that's how miracles for me occur. That sheer act of starting to listen and raising my own frequency and tuning in and saying, yes, and then it just seems to work.
And that I'm open.
That
I'm open.
Yes.
I'm willing to move beyond the fear. Like, I won't allow my fear to stop me. I'm willing to listen and move beyond the fear and move forward. That's a big one, because fear is what stops us. So it's only when you make that commitment to yourself that you won't allow fear to stop you, where fear becomes a guiding force versus than something that is a block to our good. And so for me, fear can be can be a friend, because I'm like, okay, I'm afraid, which means I'm moving out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to follow that fear. Thank you for showing itself, So for me, I use fear as a guidance tool versus something that's just going to completely stop me in my tracks and just end everything before it even starts.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned it. And I bet in this summit on making miracles happen, a lot of stuff is going to be talked about, how people can move forward through that fear, how they can open that curtain. I sort of see there's the miracle path right here. Come on, let's just go. So do you want to talk about it a little bit? I can have Tina Marie put it up.
It's all about surrender. Because surrender means not allowing the fears to control your life, not allowing the negative things that come up to control your life. It's about truly letting go so that you can make miracles happen, so that you can have those manifestations, so that you can actually attract the things that you want. Do you know how many times I've worked with people who are literally like, I want this thing. And when the thing comes, they say no. And you're like, didn't you ask for that? And they're like, but it was scary. Or maybe I don't want it. It's like, it's really strange how people can use their brains as ways to be like, yeah, I can, but I don't want it. Or they sabotage it. And in the surrender is when you actually allow yourself to have the thing that you actually desire, or better than the thing that you desire. So we talked to a lot of speakers on surrender. What did you surrender to? How did you surrender? So people know exactly what to do, because when I got started, you had Oprah was really huge on the TV at that time, and they're talking about surrender and all these special guests with the books about surrender, and the gurus talk about surrender. And it made me mad, because I was like, I would surrender if I knew how. And I was like, no, I wouldn't have, because I was stubborn. I wanted to do it my way. I had opportunities to surrender and I wouldn't do it. But the more that I had opportunities, which is a hard knock life, is when the nasty stuff happens, the more I had an opportunity to surrender, and I realized how easy life is, I surrendered voluntarily. I wasn't forced into that surrender, because when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go other than surrender or die, basically. And so you have this opportunity to just surrender and let things be easy for you, let things unfold for you. And so that's why I love this series. That's why I love talking about surrender. It's where I started it, and it's where we're going with it now, is talking about surrender so you can manifest and heal anything. And that's really important.
I love that. I can kind of feel 50 people talking about surrender, right? By the end of this series, we will be surrendered for sure. Because you know, it's either if we do it our way, it's not the same as Spirit's way. You know, they're not necessarily aligned, and that's where the problem, that's where the issue is. So to me, the miracle path is really clear. And when I see the arrow moving forward, and then the confirmation is more good things happen. You know, the confirmation, I got a practice, a call. Who would believe you get a call from a chiropractor the next day saying, Joan, I'm leaving town. Take it. All right. And so, right there, and those are really true stories. Your story is a true story. Oh, God. Yeah. So I have this deck called, it's a miracle deck. And this friend of mine just texted me today. She said, Joan, your deck saved my life. I said, what do you mean? She just texted at me on Instagram today. She said, we were in a photo shoot in LA, and we were in the wrong part of town. And as we came out, there was problems with the car, and these nasty guys were sort of circling the car. You could tell they were waiting for us. And she said, I took the card out. I started to focus on miracles. Joan says to trust, to step into that consciousness of safety. She actually created a zone where they didn't even exist. She was in this tower of miracle power and feeling this energy. They managed the tow truck came, and they managed to escape safely out of there. And she said it was really, she sent me a picture of the card, of my tarot card, my oracle card that I had made, that she said literally saved her life.
Wow.
Yes. So we are the miracle. We are miracle makers. In a sense, miracles manifest around us as we help that energy.
It's so interesting that you talk about that, because that's one thing I'd like to say to the audience, is that when it first starts, miracles seem to be one of those things that happen when you're in a bad spot, when you're in a desperate space. It's there to like save your life and protect you. But when you get out of, that's the only time I'm willing to listen, then you get into, I'm just going to listen all the time. All of a sudden, you have these stories about really good things that happen without the negativity. That is so important. Like, everybody wants to get to that point. When my guides came to me and said, it's time to start interviewing people again, I knew it intuitively. It was on video. You know, my series is on video. And I just listened, and it became one of the best things that ever happened to me when it comes to connecting with the spiritual communities, connecting with other teachers, connecting with the audience. It's nothing like when you go on television or you go on Sirius Radio and it's just everybody in the world is kind of, tuned in. It's really like a specific mindset of people that you get to connect with, like-minded people who want to grow, who want to raise the vibration of this planet into a more peaceful, loving one. Like, you get to connect with those real soul people. And that was the miracle for me, that didn't require anything negative happening. But we remember the negative things more generally. And so it's one of those things where we'll never forget how my guide saved my life. And so therefore I'll start to listen. So sometimes it does start as a negative, but it doesn't end that way.
And maybe that's what they were programmed, and they needed that activation to get there. Listen, waking up, everyone has different speeds and different, I was told by this psychic a few years ago, oh, did you know you were supposed to be famous? You missed it. And I thought I would die. He said, then he said, well, it will come back a second time. It just won't be the same. But we have those moments where we either say yes, or, we pass on it till we're ready, and it will come back again. You guys are all getting ready. Even just today is preparing you for the rest of this series of every day going higher and having more miracles manifest. I'm very excited that we're doing this, Adrienne.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited too. I love any topic with miracles. When you said you had a miracle show, I was like, oh, perfect person.
right?
share miracle stories and share the vibration of miracles. I love
I
it.
have more. I have more stories, and I know you do. And so I think we're going to have to do this again soon. Guys, I have put my link. I have an affiliate link. So every time you click my link, it takes you to Adrian's page and the series of all of these people. It is exactly the kind of thing I support because it's all about mastering miracles, making them happen, catching your miracle wave, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which means more of us are in that miracle mindset. And imagine a planet with people all around the globe experiencing miracles
All the time.
all the time, every moment.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's such a beautiful topic, isn't it?
I was really ecstatic because not everyone talks about miracles, Adrian. I was like, oh my God, I have a real miracle, a real woman into making miracles happen. It's not just consciousness.
Yes. And I have so many people, when I started this series, I had so many people come to me and go, did you, like in the middle of the interview, like, did you know that I had a miracles program? And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, I'm watching a miracles class. I've been doing this miracle class for 20 years, or I have a miracle. And it was so amazing how many of us are actually teaching miracles. And so I'm like, I'm not the only one. I like this. So, it's, I'll have to send them your way so that they can share miracles on your show, because there's
I would love that.
a lot of this. Yeah.
I would love that. I would love that. And, I wrote my book in 2005. And my kids and I launched our Family Miracle Makers Club in 1998. And I actually felt alone. Yes, because people looked at us when I would talk about miracles. I was that crazy girl talking about miracles. My brother-in-law, I'll never forget, he looked at me, he said, Joan, what do you mean by miracles? Because he was brought up Christian. Oh, God. And I went and tried to. Yes. So I have been talking about miracles before it was popular, in a sense.
Wow.
In a way. So
yeah.
I'm happy to talk to your tribe. Hello, everyone out there. This is Adrian Blackwell and Joan making miracles happen, catching our miracle wave together. Yeah. So do you have anything else you want to leave us with?
Oh, there's so much to leave people with. I think what I'd like to say to people is start manifesting a miracle today in a really safe, beautiful, loving way where it doesn't take the hardship that we normally have to go through to trust. I like your miracle, Joan, where you said, if you want me to go back into chiropractic, then gift me an office. That is such a fun miracle. It's fun. It's fun to manifest free stuff.
Oh, it was. And it was a full moon. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be out under this full moon, also telling Spirit exactly what I want to manifest. I've re-inspired and re-reminded myself that the potential for everything I want and for everything each of you guys want is right now, in this moment. In fact, in the privacy of your own home. So Adrian and I can hear it psychically. Kindly tell everyone exactly what miracles you want. Put it into words as we sort of wind down the show. Like, really get your miracle mindset on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to set that intention. And sometimes you don't know what the miracle is. For me right now, I'm looking for a place to live, and things are kind of opening up. Like, do you move to this coast? Do you move out of the state that you're in? And I'm like, I'm just open to the miracle of knowing. I'm opening to the miracle of somebody being like, you should come over here with us. I'm open to the miracle of the universe making it crystal clear when the time is right for me to hear the message. So sometimes it's not specific as far as like, if you want me to move to Los Angeles, open up something for me, but it's let me know where to go is the miracle itself, is when I actually get that answer. And so I'm open to that miracle.
Kind of coincidentally, I'm open to the same miracle.
Ooh!
And when I was up in Joshua Tree the other night, I said, okay, I'm just going to surrender to let Spirit guide me exactly where you want me to be and exactly when you want me to be. But I started packing.
The best life. That's what I always manifest. Show me where I can live my best life. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're actually on the same miracle team. You're my miracle buddy in manifesting our best life, our best home, our best new destination, where we're going to be manifesting more miracles.
I'm ready. I say yes.
I say yes. All right, guys, listen. You've been listening to Adrienne Blackwell. Please check out Making Miracles Happen. The link, use my link, please. And if you sign up today, then you get to go to that juicy page where you'll see Adrienne and I next to each other. And you can watch it. I think Tina Marie is going to put this up for us so we can show it to you. Yes. So this is the series, Making Miracles Happen. And just go there, use the link and sign up. And then you too will be able to be just like us, like giggle about the miracles that are going on in your life. We appreciate that. We appreciate you so much, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to keep saying yes. Yes, 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 and yes.
It's going to be so funny.
Yes to the people. Yes to yes.
Yes to the most perfect. Exactly. I want to be. And so guys, you might as well repeat it with us. You know, I want to be in the exact most perfect place Spirit has for me to do the work Spirit has for me to do in the most fun, easy, loving, and send me a perfect partner too, by the way. If you're going to do it, you might as well send me
everything. Everything. You know what? That's the most fun for me is helping people manifest every good thing in life. Some people think, well, I'd rather have money than have love, or I'd rather have love than have money. And I'm like, why don't you have it all? That's the best of the best. We're in an abundant universe. That's how miracles happen in the first place, because we're not limited. So I'm like, yes, let's have it all, including the love, Joan.
I know. And I really am ready. It's been a long, long time. And I feel the energy of that. Well, the love, the car, the place, but mostly to be in service in a place where it's the exact right place, right people, doing the work that I'm called for, helping all of you guys and helping Adrienne. We're spreading miracles around the planet.
I'm just going to breathe that in. Yes. I love it. I love it.
I knew this was going to be fun. All right, love.
Add-on. Let's do it all. We're creating every miracle we could possibly experience all in this time and space right now. It's awesome.
And I think everyone is with us on that. So guys, be frosty, do your miracle things. Yeah, go around your house when you get off of this and start going, yes, yes, this is my miracle.
Yes.
All right. Adrienne, you've been a love. We will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. All right. So bye, guys. I want you to know that this was very exciting to be with Adrienne. I'm hoping you felt that energy. I don't know about you, but I'm activated. I feel like I'm a miracle master. I'm like so tingling with excitement. So please check the link below, sign up for Making Miracles Happen, and do your own miracle manifesting work. Learn to say yes, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share if you're new to the channel. And check out joanofangels.com and have a miraculous life. We so appreciate you. Thank you very much. Bye for now. All right, guys, we will see you all next time. Have a blessed and beautiful week and step into the miraculous and just say yes. That's the message. Just say yes. Love you all and see you all next time.